Alright, folks, how you doing? So, I just recently saw this on YouTube. I watched it yesterday. Ancient warfare experts rates 10 battle tactics in movies and TV. How real is it? And I just love this analysis because he's so spot on. But before we go any further, anyone notice that Kiefer Sutherland is making a cameo in Braveheart? There's all these conspiracy theories about Elvis being in Home Alone. Well, Home Alone 2, to be specific. But how come there's not a conspiracy theory about Kiefer Sutherland being in Braveheart? It's clearly there. But anyway.
This is just wrong.
If that could sum up the whole of Braveheart in 4 words, that would be it. If anything could.
I mean, I mean, what are they doing here? Like, where are they getting the idea that the Scots in this period were wearing like leather and war paint? Like these are just like ordinary medieval infantry. They would be wearing chainmail and helmets like this.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
know? They just deliberately made them into savages. Why would you make them into savages? They're sophisticated people.
Well, to make them underdogs, clearly. And because Hollywood is pig ignorant, pretty much. Full of hacks who think they know things. Even back in the 1990s, it's even worse now, but, they think they know everything and really they know nothing.
They had disciplined pike formations. It's so bizarre.
Kind of like the Swiss, actually. They were kind of the same. If you ever go to the Vatican in Rome, if you see the Swiss guards, they still carry pikes to this day, in fact. Fun little fact for you. I've got a question. How come the English didn't spot these guys? I think I said that actually when I analysed this battle before, but, they would be clearly visible. Given the fact that they're holding arrows that are on fire, apart from visibly obvious, you would smell it.
So fire arrows are not entirely unhistorical. They did exist, but usually you would use them during a siege assault, for instance. Like you could use them to set things on fire, which is what they're for. So buildings and,
This is York, by the way. I recognise this painting. I've seen this before in one of Thomas Beaumont's books, but this is York.
Stocks and supplies, wood, and straw, thatch roofs, because it would create chaos and distractions.
Exactly, all warfare is based on deception, according to Sun Tzu, though I'd say more accurately, all war is based on misdirection. Getting the enemy to think that you're doing something that you're actually not doing so that you can do something that they didn't expect you to do. And Wallace used this all the time.
This idea of involving fire in battle scenes is just something that Hollywood loves. I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
You just want to have fire because it's a nice spectacle. Also, how would they have done this without the English noticing?
Yeah, really. How come the English would not have smelt it or noticed it, or how come the horses wouldn't have noticed this? Yep.
That there was a field of oil or something on the ground?
I think it's meant to be pitch.
Like they wouldn't have been like, oh, that's probably there for no reason. I'm just going to stand in front of it.
I like this guy.
They just do this. All these movies, they just sort of charge into each other like horseless lancers. They just sort of mash into each other, like no regard for anything. And then, like, when people ask me, like, so in a battle like this, like, how would you know which one is on which side? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Well, because the battle is, all the battles in Braveheart are based on a painting. That's what happens when you base battles on paintings instead of putting any thought into it.
like, how would you know who to stab, basically? Like, yeah, you wouldn't, obviously. If it went down like this, you would have no idea. Which,
Well, the guys on your side don't have any armor, and the guys on their side do. That's basically how you would know. But I get his point. The whole point in battles is you follow the standards in the heraldry. That's why it's there. The big shiny colour flags indicate, who's on whose side.
which is why it didn't. As soon as your formation gets so messed up and so disorderly that the enemy are in your ranks, you know you've lost.
Yeah, you would have to signal to your men to reform, which Wallace did multiple times. What springs to mind is the Battle of Linlithgow when, straight after Falkirk, When the English were on the run, Wallace forbade his men from pursuing them too far. He'd blow his horn and order them to regroup, because the English, if they got the Scots disorganised enough, would turn around and slaughter them. And Wallace was wary of that happening, so he'd blow his horn and order his men, form up, and he had to do this multiple times to stop them from getting too carried away. You know?
Now, infantry would often charge into battle in the sense that it would run the last distance.
I mean, they just look like, the guys here just look like they're straight out of a Jacobite painting. You know, that's another thing I've said, before, but, this is what happens when you base your battles on paintings. Paintings are there to create a romantic image. They're not meant to be realistic, by the way, because paintings were a form of propaganda.
To meet the enemy, because everybody's afraid. No,
Yeah, it's like that John Wayne quote. All battles are fought by scared men who'd rather be somewhere else.
nobody wants to be there, really, because they know they're about to be in mortal danger. So you run and you scream to get yourself through that point and to psych yourself up and to know that there's a lot of you who are all in it together. But then you'd probably, by the best modern theories, you'd sort of slow down when you get to the enemy. And then you would start stabbing at each other in more or less even lines. Because otherwise, you would just lose control. This is a joke. I mean, like...
Yeah, it really is. But that's Hollywood for you. If you're expecting realism in Hollywood, you can expect pigs to fly.
From the equipment to the tactics, like none of this has any bearing on what actually happened, except that William Wallace was defeated. That's basically it.
Yeah, basically. And even then, not for very long. But yes, Wallace did lose the Battle of Falkirk. Well, sort of. I've covered this before. More like he tried to just fight to safety, try to get his men out of there because he knew the English had won. But I've covered that. I like this analysis, though. He just rips it apart, because it is really, really silly.
2 out of 10 or 1 out of 10?
I think you were right with 1 out of 10. But anyway, thanks for watching.